more food, because all the family should worry about is helping their child live.
Alana has been out of treatment since December. We had her final CAT scan that revealed that there was no signs of cancer, which is awesome. My baby is going to be able to live.
St. Jude won't stop until no child dies from cancer. Go online or call now.
Welcome back, America. The reason why I wanted you to hear from Governor Ron DeSantis is because rather than focusing on Cuomo or Newsom or Biden or Schumer or Pelosi, this is an exceptional statesman and leader of a state that works, a very complex and diverse state in every respect, a highly populated state, number 3 in the country. People are moving. They're talking with their feet. They're leaving these dark blue states that need subsidies, that are dying, that are killing off their businesses, killing off the next generation by keeping their schools closed at the behest of the teachers union. What DeSantis has demonstrated is that conservatism, constitutionalism, liberty, the civil society, they do work. That these answers coming out of Washington, D.C., for the most part, don't work. Yes, they listened to the CDC, but they also looked at the data themselves and listened to their own scientists, and they're the better for it. Their entire population is the better for it. He wasn't shoving COVID-positive patients into nursing homes. He knew it was the wrong thing to do. And isn't it interesting? Dr. Fauci doesn't praise him. Dr. Fauci raises questions about Florida. Biden doesn't praise him. Biden's considering cutting off Florida. And then we have this massive $2 trillion bill that they want to spend, where the vast majority of the subsidies to states and cities go to the Democrats. Isn't it amazing that their voting system works? Because the governor and the government there has integrity. They're not looking for ways to stuff ballot boxes by violating the federal and state constitution. They want a system that has integrity, that the people can support. Step after step after step. That's what good government looks like. That's what constitutional conservative government looks like. He didn't lock down his state. The restaurants are open, but the level of a contagion isn't any different in Florida than anywhere else. And look, the death rate is lower than most states. It is a successful state. I go to Florida, I go into a restaurant, people are accountable. People are taking care of themselves. People don't want to get the virus, and they don't want other people to get the virus. So I wanted you to hear from a successful governor that things can work. Things can work if we apply our principles and common sense. See you next time on Life, Liberty, and Levin.
Welcome to Waters World. I'm Jesse Waters. Missing in action, that's the subject of tonight's Waters Words.
I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance, whatever you want me to do.
That just about sums up Biden's first 50 days now, doesn't it? Color bars. Not in command and not answering questions. It's the opposite of Donald Trump, but that's what the people wanted, allegedly, and this is what it looks like. It's pathetic. Charming and relaxing to some, but the incompetence is dangerous. Gas prices are up. There's a crisis on the border. Biden's lobbing missiles into the Mideast, and they haven't even sent out the stimulus checks yet. That was supposed to be the easy part. Biden's not even telling us what's going on. They either won't let him or he can't because he doesn't know himself. There are big warning signs Biden's a missing president. Kyle Becker wrote a great piece on this. We're in the first week of March, and Biden hasn't even held a single solo news conference yet. Trump, Obama, Bush, all had held one already. Hyde and Biden worked in the campaign against Trump. He made the election a referendum instead of a choice. And then he had the corporate media do his dirty work. But Biden's a solo act now, and he needs to lead. Apparently he can't. It's why they won't let the president take questions. Reporters asked him about Texas giving people the choice to wear a mask.
I think it's a big mistake. The last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it. It still matters.
If Biden runs for re-election, he can kiss his chances of winning Texas goodbye. You can't call Texans Neanderthals and get away with that. Also, when Texas opens up and their economy's red hot, Biden won't get any credit for the recovery because he trash talked it. As a lifelong politician, he should know better. Have you noticed Biden hasn't delivered a State of the Union address yet? He hasn't even scheduled one. You have to go all the way back to Jimmy Carter for a State of the Union this late. Why are they hiding Biden? Juan Williams on the 5 gave this excuse.
He's at the 3-yard line in terms of passing a major COVID relief bill. And I think that his aides don't want any fumble at the 3-yard line. They don't want to stir up any huge controversy.
This tells us a lot of what those close to Joe think of him. Those who know him best. That the leader of the free world can't read a speech off a teleprompter without fumbling. This scares me as an American. That the White House knows the chief executive isn't cut out for the job. We're not at the end of a 2-term deal here. Biden's close to passing out during the honeymoon. Reminds me of my honeymoon. That's a different story. The president hasn't been working up a sweat. He calls lids early. He goes to bed early. He takes weekends off. I see his schedule. It's not inspiring. Kamala Harris is taking one-on-one meetings with heads of state. Macron, Trudeau, the Australian Prime Minister, they aren't her counterparts. She's sitting in on Biden's daily intelligence briefings. Is she being groomed as a co-president? Is she warming up in the bullpen? Maybe Biden's bringing her in close because Obama iced him out, and he doesn't want to do that to her. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes because the media doesn't report the inner workings of the Biden White House. We knew everything about the Trump White House, even things we didn't want to know. But every time we ask a question, Jen Psaki says she'll circle back. Maybe what you see is what you get. Biden's just an executive order machine. His minions draft policy, and he signs his little John Hancock and then rests. Rubber stamping radicalism shouldn't be that taxing, but Biden seems exhausted. It took him nearly 2 weeks to visit Texas after the winter storm disaster. Bush, Clinton, Trump, Obama, they would have thrown the khakis on and the bomber jacket on and been off to jet to Texas within a week. That's what presidents do. At least show that you care. Biden could barely be bothered. He shuffled over late and barely made a splash. If a Republican had dissed a disaster like that, would have been crucified. When Biden got down to Texas, he kept forgetting everybody's name.
I want to thank you, Governor Miss Abbott, for your hospitality and your friendship. And Representative Senator Cornyn, I think he had to go back. I think he was getting on the plane. He told me he came in to see me last event. And Representatives Shirley Jackson Lee, Al Green, Sylvia Garcia, Lizzie Pinelli, Pinell, and what am I doing here? I'm going to lose track here. And
Biden's not just forgetting names, he's forgetting to name directors of... Biden hasn't named anybody to lead the FDA, the DEA, the ATF, the IMF, the Census Bureau, the U.S. Marshals, the Federal Trade Commission, NASA, or the Office of Government Ethics. Although maybe that's not an oversight. Where's Hunter, by the way? Biden hasn't even named a single ambassador. What's Biden doing inside the White House all day long? He's been in Washington his whole life. He can't even run the Democratic Party patronage mill. If you followed the campaign, there's a new book out by 2 liberal mainstream media reporters called Lucky, How Joe Biden Barely Won the Presidency. The authors, Jonathan Allen of NBC News and Amy Parnas of The Hill, said the Biden campaign ran on the strategy of, quote, you put your